For this video here, I'm gonna be breaking it down and let y'all know how grimy it can be inside a prison. I don't give a damn how much you ate with someone, hustled with someone, fought with someone, hung out with someone, none of that shit. You would never ever believe how quickly someone will backstab you. For this video here, I'm gonna be breaking it down and I'm gonna let you know how shiesty prison can truly get.
Hold down, man. Suitcase this, my cell phone and my charger don't walk with a limp. Get it knocked off or missing, you gon' get it. Next time I see your ass, you gon' leave airlifted.
What's up, everybody? You already know, man. Kfrogtv back in the building. Y'all go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. For this video here, I'm gonna be telling y'all about some shit that went down in the state of Florida prison while I was doing my 5-year bid. All right. Now, like I said in the intro, it don't matter how cool you are with someone, how close you feel like you are with someone, as how long you hung out with someone, none of that shit. People will backstab you when they feel like the time is right, okay? I always said this when I was younger. There's 3 types of people in the world, 3 types of dudes, okay? Let's put it that way. You got ones you're gonna fall out with when it comes to money, ones you fall out with when it comes to females, and ones you fall out with when it comes to the police. All right? And it's just a matter of time until they show their hand, until you realize which type of person that person is you're dealing with. I'm the type of person you're gonna fall out with about some money. You know what I'm saying? And I'll tell you that straight up. But anyways, for this video, I'm gonna break it down and I'm gonna let y'all know how this shit went down inside of the dorm I was in right before another person I knew was going home. All right? Now, it took place with, I was cool with the gang member and I was cool with his homeboy. You feel me? His homeboy was just someone that everyone in the dorm was cool with. You know, he was a cool individual. All right? So the moral of the story was the gang member was a snake. All right? He was always a snake, you know. And I knew that from stories from his own brothers, you know, from the organization he was in. You feel me? He's known as a snake, you feel me? But at the same time, he was real political when it came to, you know, the knowledge and the literature of his organization. So no matter what they would try to put on him or no matter how much grimy, sneaky snake shit he would do, they would always fear to, you know, present it to the higher power due to the fact that he was political and souped up here. He knew his lit. He knew things. You know, he was good with words and he was good at how to break it down to where they would 9 times out of 10 side with what he's saying over what the other people were trying to present. You know, and he wasn't sloppy with the snake shit he did either. You know, it's like he would do shit, he would put hits on people, and then, you know, they would end up going over to my other dogs, which was his brothers, and be like, hey, bro, what's up, bro? Where that Tunchi at? We came to collect. And my other dog would be like, what you talking about? What do you mean, bro? We went and handled that. Me and my brothers went and handled that for you and such. Me and such, which I'm not going to say no names because they're all active gang members, but such and such is the one that like put a hit on a gang member and had another gang do the hit, and then they came to my other dog, which was his brother, trying to collect. You feel me? And he's like, what? So that, you know, it looked like that the organization had a hit on that person when really that one gang member low-key did it. And then he would play it like, you feel me? I don't know. And then when my other dog would go holler at him like, hey man, what's up with these dudes that keep coming to me talking about, oh, I gotta pay them something for this. And he'd be like, shh, come here, check me out. He'd be like, don't worry about that. I already took care of that. You feel me? So like he was always on some snake shit. So this particular time, there was a person in my dorm that was supposed to be going home in the next like 4 or 5 days. All right. So he had a cell phone, you know, and this same person slept in the bunk, you know, right next to one of the brothers of the other gang member who ended up doing this snake ass shit. What he did is he ended up putting a hit on the person for the cell phone because he wanted the cell phone. He knew that when he went home, he was going to leave the phone to his brother. You feel me? So here you're putting a hit on someone to have him attacked, to get the phone robbed from him and all this shit days before he goes home because you want the phone yourself, not your brother. You see what I'm saying? Because the person who had the phone, he wasn't a gang member, you know? And then not to mention, the dude next to him who he was leaving the phone to had phones. The one who wanted the phone, who sent the hit, had phones. So it was just more like a greedy situation. You feel me? It was like, that's $500 to $600. I want that. So he did some shiesty shit. And what he did is he ended up putting a hit on him. And no one knew about it. But one day, right before count time, the person who put the hit, of course, he ain't in the dorm. Majority of people were at rec. There's only a couple of us that are still in the dorm. Two people violate, which means they go to an unauthorized area. They slide to a dorm they're not from. They violate and come in our dorm. When they come inside of our dorm, they walk right over there to the person who had the phone. And they were like, oh, what's up? Where's such and such at? And the whole time, you know, he don't know no better. He's sitting there. He goes home in a couple days. He done already told his person next to him, his neighbor, that he's going to leave him the jack and shit like that. But what is he to do? He doesn't know what's about to go down. So when they come in, they start saying, oh, where's such and such at? And who they were asking for was the person that slept next to him. Really, it was all planned because when they came in the dorm, it was meant for no one to be in there. The person who put the hit told my other dog, which was the one who slept next to the person with the phone, told him that he had to come to the rec yard because they got a meeting out there. Because that shit wouldn't have went down if his brother was in the dorm. They would have been like, hell no, especially him knowing he's the one getting the phone. You know, like that's my phone basically. It's already mine, and y'all coming in here to rob. Now there's gonna be a war between my organization and y'all two's organizations, and then come to find out, what do you mean? Why is there a war? Your own brother sent the hit. You feel me? So it's like, what? And it was crazy because when this person was going home, who had the cell phone, that man literally cried in our dorm. You feel me? He was a black dude, you know what I'm saying? A street nigga from Lauderdale. But he was like, man, I don't want to leave y'all boys in here, you know what I'm saying? And he was talking about the person next to him and his brother, the other one. You know, he was like, man, I don't want to leave y'all boys in here, you know what I'm saying? I rode out with y'all. Y'all are closer to me than family, bro. You know, because sometimes it be like that. Sometimes, you know, you'll meet people in there that you wish you would have met a long time ago, and it sucks because you got to leave them in there, and you're going home, you know, and y'all been in there together for so long to where when people go home, you know, y'all are looking at them like, damn, that sucks, bro. Well, at least we're still in here together to ride out. You feel me? You know, because you could be real close with someone like this, and then they get wet up or, you know, get murked in there. Same thing can happen to you. They could go home and you could get murked in there. You feel me? So he was upset that he was going home. But for him to, you know, shed tears, and he done been to prison, like, he had like the biggest letter I've seen on someone's prison tag. You know, so for him to be upset like that, you know, like, and him done had several bids, it's like you could tell he truly fought with them boys, you know? And for them to, you know, well, for the other one to do it, it was kind of green, you feel me? So like I said, he told his brother that there was a meeting on the yard, he's got to come out there. Really, he knew that them boys was going to come in there and try to rob because he sent the hit. So when they go in there and they ask where the gang member that slept next to him was at, he's like, oh, them boys was on the rec yard. He's like, oh, all right. You feel me? The other dude who came in with him went and sat like 3 bunks down. One was a cutthroat, one was a GD, all right? Which y'all know what that is. That's a folk, and a cutthroat is a gang down here from Jacksonville, you feel me? In Florida. Shout out to both organizations. I know people that are affiliated in both of them. So they came in, one asked them where such and such was at, the other one sat a couple bunks down. Next thing you know, the one who asked him where such and such was acted like he was gonna walk off, and then when he went to walk this way, the other one went to walk this way, and he stole him. He popped off on the person who had the phone. And then the other dude who asked where such and such was turned around, and they went to jumping him. But this is where they fucked up at. They got put on a dummy mission because I meant to leave this part out, you know, till I got farther in the story like this, all right? The same person who had the phone had almost all the knives in the dorm. Literally was just laying on his bed. At any time you lift his mat, there's 5 knives laying there. You know, look at his pillow, 5 knives in there. Like he was just known to have knives. So what do you think he did when them dudes went to jumping him? He didn't holler for nobody. You feel me? He didn't scream or nothing like that. What did he do? He grabbed that knife and he wet both they ass up in the middle of the scuffle. You feel me? And then at this time, there's cameras. You know, they put cameras in Florida prison now. They didn't have cameras when I first got there. you know? So nobody wants to be, you know, caught on camera doing no stupid shit. You know, that's just dumb. Just alone, you being involved in a knife fight on camera. Someone could be chasing you with a knife, or you could be chasing someone with a knife, or you could be in the altercation of people fighting with knives, and they're gonna try to put you on CM, control management, for like up to 18 months to 3 years probably. Just over some petty shit like that. So, bruh held his own, you know, don't get me wrong now. Me, I wasn't in the place, you know, to jump up and do anything and get involved. Why? Because I had my own cell phone to worry about. You get what I'm saying? Now, don't get me wrong. If I was attacked or someone came at me like that, then it would be different. But when I got things that I got going on, I can't risk losing. You feel me? Everyone else, 99% of the people who have shit going involved are going to do the same thing if it don't involve you. Because that's rule number 1 in prison. Mind your business. Keep your mouth closed. You see what I'm saying? If it ain't involve you, just don't worry about it. Now, if I'm sitting there and I got my phone and it's one of my day one homeboys, like people I'm with every single day, and some people come with the fuckery, then I'm all in. I'm ready to go. Fuck that phone. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not going to just stand up and run and get myself involved over some people that I'm cool with, because at the end of the day, I've said this numerous times, you could count your true friends on one hand in your lifetime. Everyone else is just associates. You know, we're not friends. You get what I'm saying? We're just associates. We may have did some deals before. You know, we say what's up to each other and we keep it trucking. You know, and that's how it was with bruh who this shit happened to. You feel me? Now, when it all went down and they're scuffling and rumbling and going around, nobody knows what's going on. He grabbed a knife, cut them boys, and guess what happens? Once one gets cut, he's holding his hand, he runs to the other side of the dorm, he's chasing the other dude with the knife, swinging that shit. He's like, y'all done fucked up. That door shut. You feel me? Which made it perfect timing because they had nowhere to go, the two people who came in there. You see? So now you got this person who isn't affiliated that just stabbed 2 different gang members. You see? So regardless why he stabbed them gangs are gonna rock behind their brothers. You feel me? Soon as he, like that dude was cut and he was scared to go near him, he ran over here near this one. He's like, boy, you done fucked up. Y'all boys done fucked up. Come on. And he had this big ass banger on him. And that dude who he was going after, which was the cutthroat at the time, was spooked, was scared as shitless, was like, man, you know what I'm saying? My bad, bro, like trying to apologize. Then he got on the window, not the gang member, but the one whose phone it was. He got on the window because the dorm I was in at the time was right next to the rec yard. You feel me? I was at Charlotte CI. I was in D1. For anyone who's ever been there, then you know that window is right where people are on the rec yard. They walk right by the window. You feel me? So he got on the window and started hollering at his homeboy, the one that slept next to him, the gang member from a different organization than the 2 he just stabbed, and said, man, this nigga's in here trying to rob me. He's like, what? So next thing you know, when they come in, shit hits the fan, everything goes down. A big old war is about to start, because now for the next couple days, you got this organization that's defending this dude, because not only was he holding, you know, the knives, he has knives and shit like that, but when them boys went out to the rec yard, he had his homeboy that slept next to him's phone under his pillow. So now it looks like y'all try to rob that gang member shit. And then even if it wasn't that phone they were going for, the phone that he had was already going to be left to him. You feel me? So technically you were still trying to rob his shit. Because in there, man, when it comes to cell phones, everyone's hungry for them. Literally, people turn their back on their own brothers over cell phones. Like, that shit is real like that. You get what I'm saying? If you're not in a dorm where they don't allow stealing, and where they don't allow outsiders to come in there and rob, like unity, where there's no unity, where people stick together, then you're gonna find yourself in problems. Like me, I've been in dorms like that, and there was always problems with different people. People would try to rob different people's cell phones and shit. I see it all the time. You feel me? But then I also landed in dorms to where ain't no outsiders coming in here robbing. And then the ones who wanna come in there and rob know better, because some of their brothers will be in the dorm. And they're like, nah, we keeping that shit out of here. Because if you got 5 different gangs in a dorm, and all 5 gangs got cell phones and got shit going on, they're not going to allow one of their brothers from a different dorm to come in here and rob someone else who's got shit going on, because then it's going to bring heat to the dorm, and then they may get their phones knocked off. So in all reality, you know, you win the fight by getting the phone from whoever you're trying to rob, but you lose the war because in the long run, y'all are gonna take a bigger loss. So that shit is, you know, prohibited. They don't really allow that shit in a lot of dorms, you feel me? But once they came in from the rec yard and all that shit went down, the craziest thing happened. They called count time. Them same 2 dudes that got wet had to sit on abandoned bunks during count time. Like, not abandoned to where it was vacant, but to where like people were at work. They worked in the kitchen, they worked outside the gate, they worked inside, you know, classification, medical, the school building, wherever they were. So their bed was made, but no one was there. So you're able to sit there and count in a different dorm. You feel me? As long as there's a bunk for you to sit on. A bunk that is occupied by someone's name in the system, but is unoccupied with the person at the moment. You understand? It can't be abandoned bunk with no mat, no nothing, and just sit there, crash dump. You're going to confinement for an unauthorized area. Feel me? So them boys sat there after getting wet and all. Sat there after getting wet and everything. Next thing you know, when the officers come around to do the count, first person makes it through, boom, he's straight. You know, like second person, they come through and they're like, you don't live in here. That's what the officer says. You know, well, the first couple times the count was off. As long as they get a clear count, as long as they get an even number, then you're good. And then they'll have to recount if they're not. And then after a while, they're gonna do a master roster count, which means they come around with a piece of paper and it's got your bunk and your DC number and all that shit right there, your name and all. So then they go from bunk to bunk, and then you gotta show them your tag and tell them your name and DC number, and then they'll mark it off. You feel me? Because they take their count shit real, you know, by procedure. So that shit wasn't clearing after a while. So after it wasn't clearing, them 2 boys were looking at each other, you know what I'm saying? The cutthroat and the GD, they're both looking at each other, you know, sitting in totally different spots in the dorm. This dude sitting here still talking like, man, I don't give a fuck. Y'all boys know y'all played. Y'all boys played, boy. Y'all got the right one. Y'all got the right one. You feel me? Shit like that. And them boys was stuck in the dorm. But since count didn't clear, they wasn't able to successfully make it out. So since they weren't able to successfully make it out, they came to the dorm. When they came to the dorm, once they told dude to stand up, they, you know what I'm saying, they told them, cuff up, you don't live here. Then they got the other guy, cuff up, you don't live here. Well, the second one who they cuffed up that didn't live there was the one that got cut in the hand, so he was bleeding. So once they seen he was bleeding, they're like, what happened? He's like, nothing, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever he may have said. I was on the other side of the dorm, like on the top bunk, sitting there watching. It was probably like, I'd say 15 feet away, maybe. That wasn't that far, you feel me? So I don't really know what he said. But I know he said nothing at first. Once he seen that, boom, they decided to rewind the cameras. When they rewind the cameras, what do they see? They see the whole situation go down. So now they put the person in cuffs who had the cell phone and the 2 gang members. They walked them boys out to get ready to take them to confinement. The officers felt bad due to the fact that the one who was in the dorm with the cell phone, he got attacked by 2 people who didn't live in there, and he goes home soon. Them officers didn't put him in confinement. They put him right back in his dorm. They let him go back to the dorm. They spared him instead of putting him in confinement, which they should have put him in confinement, believe it or not. Not saying they should have gave him like any type of DR or nothing, but for his own safety, they should have put him in there, because for the next couple days before he goes home, them boys was out trying to get him. You feel me? And the other 2 went to confinement, so now you got the GDs and the cutthroats that are after this one person in the dorm, but then you got this other organization that's rocking behind them. And then through the midst of it all, they'd find out that one of their own kind put the hit on him. You feel me? You know, now when all that shit goes out, it's like, man, what? And the only person who found out was the one who the phone was going to. So he wanted them boys to rob him and everything, take the phone, get the phone, do all this other shit, and then get the phone and give it to him. And then he was gonna pay them with Tunchi or tobacco, whatever it is he was paying them at the time, for the phone. They weren't even gonna keep the phone. They were gonna give the phone to him. So next thing you know, the phone didn't end up getting found, you feel me, by who it belonged to. The phone ended up getting found by someone else, and by the luck of the draw, it got brought to the person who sent the hit, because they knew that they were homeboys, they were friends. They were like, look, man, boom, this is what they tried to get. All right, appreciate it. Don't tell no one you gave me this phone, is what he told the person who gave it to him. So no one knew. But then later on, months later, it comes out to the person who the phone was supposed to go to that his own brother put the hit on him to stop him from leaving him the phone. Then he ended up getting the phone, getting rid of it real quick, you know, like different shit, you feel me? To where, you know, there was bad blood between them two and that organization. Now, for the next couple days, they were trying to get bruh who was going home. He worked outside the gate with DOT, which is Department of Transportation. They go outside, they clean up on the side of the highways, clean up at parks. Some of them work inside of citrus fields, cut grass up and down highways, get in the swamp with mud boots, weed eat, you know, all types of shit like that. So they were like, man, we gotta get him before he goes home. You know, like they're like, we have to get him. But the one thing about him is he's been to prison so many times that he was on beat. He was sketchy. He was one of the ones that, you know, he was ready for whatever, you feel me, at any time. So they tried to get him. They were like, man, we're gonna have to put some of our younger soldiers on this, and we're gonna have to crash him when he comes in the gate from work, because we can't let him get to the dorm because we know he's got knives. But little did they know that boy buried a knife right by the gate. When you walk in, boom, that boy picked the knife up and shit like that. So he was ready to rock. They ran up on him, tried to wet him. He wet them, they wet him, shit like that. But he still went out with a bang, you feel me? And came back to the dorm. When he left from our dorm. They attacked him at the gate again, but he had a knife buried. Because, you know, they check you, metal detector and all that. You can't come in and out of the compound with shit like that. You feel me? But he was on beat. He wasn't no fool. And it sucked because he was a cool person, you know, and he trusted those people who did that, you know, well, the person that did that. So that just shows how shiesty someone is. And then later on down the line, the person who slept next to him, who was supposed to get the cell phone, me and him ended up being like this. We was in confinement together for a long time. We both ended up getting shipped and everything. And he was back there from a kite his own brother put on him. His brother sent them boys on him. Low key. You feel me? That's the type of game you play. You know, he'd get a cell phone in confinement and he would test his brother. He would call just him and let him know, hey, I got a new jack back here. Bye, 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 you feel me? You know, boom, what's up? What the drop's looking like? I'm trying to get in the rotation. Next thing you know, the police would blitz his room and find him with a cell phone. You feel me? But his bunkie was a fall man. His bunkie was someone that was willing to take a charge. So every time they found one inside confinement at the time, because he was in the cell next to me with someone and I was in the cell right next to him with someone. Then they moved him downstairs from me, so we were on the vent 24/7 talking. But anytime they'd find a cell phone, his bunkie would take the rap because someone's got to man up to it. And his bunkie was already trying to get away from Charlotte as it was, and he goes home in a couple months. So he was like, shit, I'm already sentenced in confinement longer than I'm EOSing. I'm ending my sentence in confinement. I'm gonna be going home from the box. So I might as well take the DR and free you. You feel me? That's how what his bunkie was on. You feel me? So he knew by sending the little test at his brother that that's the one that was getting him from around there. And what it was is, because he was a plug, my dog was a plug also, bigger plug. You see what I'm saying? And he had pride issues. You see? That's just shows how shiesty shit is when you're dealing with shit in prison. You know how they say it when it comes to gangs, every brother ain't your brother. You know, some people end up taking a fall and a loss behind their own kind. You know, and a lot of times that shit ain't presented or brought to the light. You feel me? Some people just eat that shit and keep quiet because they know deep down inside that person's political. They're gonna believe him more because he's more souped up here when it comes to, you know, the nation shit, you know? And it was crazy because like I said, the dude they sent the hit on, well, he sent the hit on, was crying, you feel me, that he had to leave them in there. Because at Charlotte, it was a war zone. People were getting wet, lifted all the time from around there. And you never know if your friend gonna make it out or not. Now, I've linked up with my homeboy a couple times on the streets, the one that slept next to him, the one whose phone it was supposed to be. We vibed on the streets and everything. He's still affiliated and all. He told me just recently that he linked up with the one who left him the phone. That he had to see them. He had, you know, he was like, bitch, you home, I gotta pull up on you, bitch, you made it out, and this and that, and he was happy as hell to see him, bro. But it just shows people do anything, for anything in prison. So here you got this man putting a hit on someone he's cool with, and he's paying so many people to keep it on the down low. Because, you look at it like your organization's rocking behind this individual over this situation. But really, you're the one that sent the hit. That's some shiesty ass shit. So as long as you got money to pay everyone to be quiet, your brothers got their life on the line against this dude, against other organizations. Meanwhile, it's all because of you. And that's some shiesty ass shit. Straight up. You see so many crooked things go down inside of prison. When I start telling you these stories and all this different shit that took place while I was in there, y'all gonna be like, damn, that shit is really grimy. It really is. You feel me? You see people backstab each other all the time in there. But then when you get you some riders that ain't, when you get some that are like, you feel me, and they rocking with you, going to confinement about you, slanging iron about you and all this shit like that, you're gonna notice the difference, and you can't help but to do the same. You feel me? You can't help but to do the same. Literally. And it's to the point of where their own brothers might try to put a hit on you if you're unaffiliated. They don't like their brother hanging out with you, so they'll pay and get another gang to wet you up or run up on you. Now, they brother standing up wanting to rock out about you, but then they're not backing their own brother because you're not affiliated. You see, that's the type of shit that you see inside of prison. All over a cell phone is what this took place. Now, don't get me wrong, that shit $500 to $600 though. That's a lot of money. You see what I'm saying? But the fact is, he had more than enough. You feel me? He literally was in rotation at flipping things and making so much money that he didn't have to do that. And if he did, there were so many other people, to do it to. You feel me? Why do it to someone that's closest to you? Why do it to someone that has all your brother's knives? That doesn't make no sense. Literally, he's reading a book, open the book, a knife falls out. Like, he was known to have a knife all the time. He was like schizo a little bit. He's been to prison so many times, he was institutionalized. You feel me? So it's like, you should have known better. It's like you put them boys on a dummy mission. And that's exactly what happened. Even though, the phone ended up going to him and all that shit. It did end up getting to him eventually, through the luck of the draw of being found by an innocent bystander, and said they didn't know who else to give it to but him, because they knew they were friends, him and whose phone it was. Even though it didn't come out, right then and there, down the line it will. You see what I'm saying? May not be 10 years from now, but eventually, some way, somehow, it's going to go around. You feel me? And that's just what it is. But you got to make sure you always be aware who you hang out with, because shiesty shit goes down all the time in prison. Feel me? But anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this story. I'm going to wrap this video on up. Y'all make sure y'all hit that like button on the way out if you ain't hit it on the way in. And just remember, keep your head up at all times. Keep them square, rats, clowns, chomos, all them out of your circle. And no matter what you do, smile. Anyways, I'll catch y'all next time, man. Till next time, this Frog.